can!
It's over!
He's done it again! Unbelievable!
Oh, straight into the roof of the net.
Nice one.
Straight down the middle. So a good performance from both teams.
Hi, you're watching Firstpost. I'm Rupha Ramani. Let's get started. On the show today, the selectors of the Indian cricket team continue to face heat over the management of Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma's cricketing future. Even as reports suggest the two are ready to get back to domestic grind, what are some of the questions that are being asked and what's the road ahead really for these two? NBA makes its way back to China after a hiatus. Can basketball mend the fences that politics broke? Even so, is China and its problematic fan culture ready to embrace a positive sporting change? And Carlos Sainz hits out at Formula One, accusing them of being more bothered to show drivers' girlfriends rather than action on the tracks. Where is F1 broadcast heading to, and is this a fair objection to make? But first, the headlines on Sports 360. Starting with cricket and the Women's World Cup, India suffered their first defeat at the tournament. South Africa beat the women in blue by 3 wickets. Batting first, Richa Ghosh scored 94 to take India's total to 251. In response, the Proteas chased the target down in 49 overs. It was a close game. Nadine de Klerk scored 84 to help South Africa win all the matches now against India in World Cups. On to tennis, former world number 1 Novak Djokovic continues his dream run at the Shanghai Masters. The Serb entered the semi-finals with a straight sets win over Zizo Bergs. Djokovic is the oldest semi-finalist in the history of the tournament. Indonesia has denied visa to Israeli team for the World Artistic Gymnastics Championship. The reason is believed to be the war in Gaza. The event is scheduled to take place in Jakarta later this month. Israel is set to respond to the matter soon. In football, India salvaged a 1-all draw against Singapore to stay alive in the AFC Asian Cup qualifiers. Singapore took the lead in the first half and India were brought down to 10 men. Sandesh Jingan was handed a red card. Rahim Ali came from the bench to score the equalizer. And Boca Juniors fans filled up the stadium to pay tribute to former manager Miguel Russo. They queued up in lines to pay their final respects. The Argentine died at 69 due to cancer. Russo won the 2007 Copa Libertadores in his first spell with Boca. A test series is underway. In fact, the second test between India and West Indies has kicked off in Delhi today. But the biggest talking point swirling around Indian cricket continues to be around the two icons of the sport, Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli, in the news whether they play or not. The team selection for the ODI series against Australia made a lot of noise. The management signalled a definite shift in vision, making Shubman Gill the captain in the ODI format too. But the biggest debate now is over how well the management is handling the last phase of Virat and Rohit. Will the two stalwarts have their way in this tussle? And has the management really thought through their plan of action for the next 2 years, culminating with that World Cup in 2027? And could things have panned out in a different, more organized manner? I'll try to answer these questions here. Now let's focus on exactly what was said when the ODI squad was announced. It's almost a week now since that happened. The chief of selectors was of course asked about the future of Virat and Rohit, to which he was pretty circumspect but was clear on one thing.
We've picked them for Australia. As far as 2027 World Cup is concerned, I don't think we need to talk about it today. Need them to score runs like they've been through their career. I think we made it clear that whenever players are available, they should be playing domestic cricket.
Play domestic cricket, that's the message, because there isn't any other international cricket that you are engaging in. IPL is not enough. The management has been all too keen on many of their stars, in fact, doing this when unavailable for national duties for whatever reasons, either they're recovering from injuries or not being selected for a particular bilateral. This has been their mantra for some years now, so I get that. But the question is there a roadmap being designed in conversation with the two cricketers on the path ahead really, taking them into discussions on how to figure this out? It's only after the press conference that we hear the two players will be available for maybe 3 of the matches in the Vijay Hazare Trophy. This tournament will take place in December. It will take place after the ODI series against South Africa, and probably just around the time the New Zealand series will kick off. There will be 6 rounds that both Delhi and Mumbai teams will play, and the two are expected to take the field in some of them. Virat Kohli last played in this domestic tournament back in 2010, where he batted at number 5. Rohit Sharma's last stint, though, was not too far ago. It was in 2018 in a semi-final match. So this will be fresh territory for the two in some ways. Now, while it's only fair to expect them to be match fit in the situation that they find themselves in today without cricket through the year for them, the question, however, is, has the transition been smooth?
I think there might be a messy end for Ajit Agarkar there. If anybody is going to win here, I think it is the former captains rather than the former all-rounder. If Agarkar is saying this just to fuel the fire of Kohli and Sharma, then fair enough. You put your cards on the table and see what comes.
Yes, when it comes to a turf war, it's going to be tough to get past players who carry that sort of credence or stature. But the management seems to have got their way so far. The management, the coaching staff, they've got the squad that they wanted. Fresh blood to lead and out with the seniors. The other point that Harmison here makes is whether this was a tactical move to fuel the players. If so, maybe this will pay off. Now, we are talking of 2 veterans here, not newbies. You can't do tactics with them. You can't do veiled threats or the cloak and dagger stuff. They're legends of the sport. They've been the pillars of Indian cricket for decades now. So no matter the vision, the plan, the agenda, truth is how you manage them now is what's going to define their own legacy in some way, and yours as well, that of Indian cricket. So the way forward would have to be simple, clear, transparent messaging. No half-truths. Keep a clear plan in place, regular tabs on their progress, whether it's fitness-wise or even their mental well-being, being away from the sport considerably. Open communication lines on where they see themselves in the next few years. And most important, but often ignored, the desire. What's the desire here and the level of hunger? And can all the parties involved here, the senior cricketers and the management, find a middle ground without compromising on, of course, the bigger goal here, India's success, and on laying the foundation for the next phase of cricket? Those are the parameters that need to be navigated here to ensure that the transition is as smooth as it can be. And it ultimately has only one interest that is paramount, that of Team India. America's biggest basketball league, the NBA, is finally returning to China after 6 long years. But this comeback isn't just another pre-season tour. It's a massive test of culture, diplomacy and control. Because while the NBA looks to rebuild bridges with China, the country itself is facing an uncomfortable question. Is China even ready for the world of modern fandom? Because what we are witnessing is the ugly side of Chinese fan culture. 2 high-profile pre-season games will take place. The Brooklyn Nets and the Phoenix Suns are set to play in Macau over the weekend. It's a huge deal, no doubt, but the timing couldn't be trickier. The world's 2 biggest powers, America and China, are once again trading blows, not on the basketball court, but on the global stage. Trump's new tariffs have reignited an all-out trade war. Right in the middle of it all stands the NBA. The same league that 6 years ago found itself at the center of a diplomatic disaster. In 2019, one tweet changed everything. The then Houston Rockets general manager Daryl Morey tweeted support for the Hong Kong protests. China suspended all NBA broadcasts, sponsors pulled out overnight, merchandise vanished from shelves, and the NBA's most profitable international market froze instantly. It took years of silence, back-channel diplomacy, and a mountain of financial losses before it even began to thaw. And now the NBA's return marks a brand new chapter. Because for the NBA, this is not just sport, it's strategy. China isn't just another fan base, it's a billion-dollar gold mine. No wonder then that fans are paying up to $1,000 for a single ticket that would usually cost around $15.
For Chinese fans, the NBA feels so far away, literally half a world apart. That's why we felt we had to come to the NBA China games. If you ever get the chance, you must experience it live. It's a completely different feeling from watching on TV.
文斯卡特、加内特、奥尼尔都要来，这些都是我们儿时的记忆。
Looks and sounds like genuine excitement, but beneath that, there's a darker reality because at home, China's sports fan culture is under serious scrutiny. The ongoing Shanghai Masters tennis tournament is showing just how ugly it can get. A drunken spectator disrupted a high-profile match, shouting, stumbling, and refusing to stop until she had to be physically removed from the arena. And this is not a one-off. This season alone, multiple players have complained about fans intentionally disrupting matches. World number 9, Lorenzo Musetti, even pleaded with the chair umpire to stop the constant disturbances during his serves.
Come on every point. I understand a few times. I made a mistake, okay, but this is not possible every point. It's too much. Say something.
In badminton, Japanese star Chiharu Shida faced stalking and harassment from obsessed Chinese fans to the point that she had to reveal how unsafe she felt. So let's call it what it is, an unhealthy, chaotic, at times toxic fan culture that seems to be present. If the player isn't a big name, they get heckled or disrupted. If the player is famous, they get stalked or swarmed. This is happening in a nation that prides itself to being a sporting superpower. From the Olympics to table tennis, badminton to gymnastics, China dominates the world stage. But domination doesn't mean devotion. Because while athletes have raised China's sporting reputation, its fans haven't kept their end of the deal. Here's the irony though. China spends billions on sports infrastructure, global events and athlete training. But the soul of sport doesn't live in facilities, it lives in fans. Fans who cheer, respect and celebrate. Fans who love the game, not just the victories. Because a nation isn't truly great at sport when it wins medals alone, it's great when it creates memories. And that's where the NBA's return could mean something far deeper. For years, China's youth have idolized the NBA, not just as fans, but as dreamers. Street basketball in Shanghai and Guangzhou is thriving. Sneaker culture, streetwear and grassroots tournaments are booming. And now with the league officially back, it might just be the spark of raw, authentic energy that's been missing. Because sport, unlike politics, doesn't demand loyalty to a flag. It demands loyalty to the moment. It doesn't ask you to pick sides, it asks you to feel. So maybe this NBA comeback isn't just about repairing relations, maybe it's a test of whether China can truly embrace the emotion of sport, not just the spectacle. Because when the cheering turns into respect, when passion replaces chaos, and when fans elevate the game rather than embarrass it, that's when China will truly arrive as a sporting superpower in spirit and not just in the medals tally. Formula One is witnessing a new kind of tension, and it's not over tyre strategies or team orders. It's over what's being shown on screens. Williams driver Carlos Sainz has voiced what many in the paddock have quietly felt for a while. The broadcasters are focusing less on the race and more on what's happening outside of it. Instead of tight corners and overtakes, viewers are getting close-ups of drivers' girlfriends, celebrity paddock shots and influencer reactions. We ask, is Formula One losing its soul in the quest to being a show?
Over the last few years, Formula One has transformed. What was once an elite, precision-driven sport for purists has become a mainstream entertainment machine. And to give credit where it's due, documentaries like Drive to Survive have made F1 more than just about horsepower and pit stops. It's about drama, rivalries, emotions. It created characters that felt cinematic, and suddenly Formula One wasn't just a sport, it was a blockbuster with engines. But now the question is, has that cinematic success come at a cost? Because lately, F1 broadcasts have started to look more like Hollywood red carpets than race coverage. Camera pans to celebrities in the paddock, close-ups of girlfriends and influencers mid-race. Meanwhile, the real action, the actual race, is being missed. And that's what Carlos Sainz has had enough of.
Last weekend, They didn't show any of the 4 or 5 overtakes I did at the end. Nor did they show Fernando's pursuit of Lewis. Don't lose sight of the main thing. For me, they go overboard a little showing the celebrities and girlfriends.
That's not just a frustrated driver, that's a warning shot from inside the cockpit. Think about it, in a sport where a tenth of a second can change the result, missing a key overtake for a celebrity cutaway isn't just lazy, it's a disservice to the sport. While broadcasters chase glamour, drivers are risking everything for precision. And the ones paying the price? The fans. Because fans tune in for competition, for the main draw. This wasn't always the case. Go back to the early 2000s, the golden broadcast era. Every shot was about the craft. Telemetry breakdowns, tire degradation, onboard radios, perfect drama for the sports lover. You could feel the tension through the data, not through who was sitting trackside with sunglasses on. But now the narrative has flipped. Formula One isn't just selling speed anymore, it's selling a spectacle. It's no longer about who crosses the finish line first, but who's dating who, who's wearing what, and who's sitting in the front row. And sure, storytelling matters. Sports need personalities, emotions, rivalries. That's what keeps people curious and engaged as well. It helps the sport grow beyond the mainstream audience. But when the story starts overshadowing the sport, you lose the very essence that made people fall in love with it. It's like turning The Godfather into Love Island. Let's put it this way. Imagine if broadcasters had cut to Ronaldo's girlfriend instead of showing that bicycle kick in the Champions League. Would it still be iconic? Or imagine missing Virat Kohli's 6 over Haris Rauf at the T20 World Cup and instead cutting to the stands for fan reactions. Fans remember moments, not montages. Messi lifting his shirt against Madrid. Maradona's hand of God. Federer dropping to his knees at Wimbledon. Sure, the post-match celebrations, the family hugs, they sell too. But they complement the story, they don't replace it. F1 might think it's gaining new audiences, but it risks losing the old ones who built its legacy. What they need to remember is this. It's not a love story between drivers and their girlfriends. It's a love story between drivers and the track.
Time for last serve. Algeria is heading back to the big stage after a long 12-year wait. The Desert Foxes have officially qualified for the FIFA 2026 Men's World Cup. With a commanding 3-0 victory over Somalia, Algeria became the 4th African nation to book their ticket to football's biggest event. Back home, the scenes were nothing short of electric. Streets flooded with fans, flags waving high, fireworks lighting up the sky. Take a look. That wraps it up here on First Sports. I'll see you after the weekend. Do take care.